Good to see you today. Thanks for joining us.
Good to see you. Gave me a great reason to not look like I'm sheltering in place.
You groomed a little, you're telling me, for this event.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people in my life telling me I'm looking a little too fuzzy lately. So we've been taking care of some things. Let's put it that way.
Well, thanks for joining us. And I just mentioned to people, we have Nexus at noon going live, but we also post this video on all of our social channels, and you will as well, because I think you just have some great insights to share with people, and we want to be able to have that available for people longer than just on this 10-minute time slot. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, and I hope I don't let you down.
Well, tell me a little bit. So I know you're a member of Nexus Cowork, which we love. But tell everybody a little bit about what you do and the business that you own and what your role is in your business.
Yeah, so I am an accidental entrepreneur. I founded my company, ParkLife Communications, about 11 years ago. It was June 2009, after I had gotten unceremoniously dumped from my previous profession. Uh, my wife, who is in so many ways my guide in adult life, told me, "Why don't you quit trying to fit in with those people and pursue something that you love?" And she and I met on our college newspaper,
Oh, fun.
and
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, she was a copy editor and I was a writer. She was also a photographer. And so I decided to start reaching out to some of my contacts. I was a financial professional, and I immediately found some people that wanted to keep working with me. So I started Park Life mid 2009. And now, 11 years later, I find myself really blessed to be able to say I'm a established creative professional. I do a lot of writing. I do some video direction. Uh, Obviously, content strategy comes along with all that, um, all kinds of marketing, and very recently gotten into podcasting, which I really love.
Yep.
And so my work focuses on helping entrepreneurs and executives get their opinions, get their leadership into the public space, whether that's ghostwriting, videos, podcasting, you name it.
That's fun. You have to be a humble person to be a ghostwriter, right?
Yeah. There's a little bit weird dynamic there where you're always putting stuff out in other people's names, and that's why I'm so grateful for opportunities like this. Um, I still have an ego, and I still have a passion to promote my company and my own ideas. But you're right. There's a lot of tamping down who Brian Castle is in the service of these great people I work with.
Well, we're glad that you could join, and clearly you have so much experience, talent that you bring. And one of the things that we talked about that we thought would be helpful for our community and part of people who are part of Nexus and just more broader in Matthews and Charlotte is there's a lot of people right now who are entrepreneurs. They own their own business, they're business leaders, or maybe they're part of a nonprofit. And everybody tries to kind of circle around the social media space and what's my role in it. And I know that you have really talked about, that a lot of the media that's available to us, it can amplify your voice, it can amplify your influence. And so it is something to think about in the context of beyond just your role of what you do every day. So why would someone want to be an influencer or a thought leader? What can you guide people on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, anything you do in life, there should be a why behind it. And professionally speaking, if you're going to take away one thing from this whole chat, it's good for you and it's good for what you do. Um, I think when you are able to put yourself out there as a thought leader, as an influencer, and this is a dynamic that can be global, national, regional, even local in Matthews here. Um, it helps build your credibility on both a personal and professional level, helps you develop a professional brand and attract, this is huge for me, attract like-minded customers and business partners that you can form long-lasting relationships with and get away from more transactional business. Second thing, the whole high tide lifts every boat dynamic. The more of us that jump in and do the things like we're doing today,
Yeah.
and my goal today is to help people. Um, it makes your marketplace, what you do for a living. If you're lifting all the boats, it just makes it better for everybody participating. People understand what you're trying to accomplish, and it kind of removes that cynicism that tends to ruin things in life.
Yeah. Well, I love your thought about, and I agree, that, business just isn't transactional. And that's how people thought about it a long time ago, but there's a relationship, right, involved in all of this. And would love your opinion on something. So some people say, well, I don't really want to get on social media because I don't want to be famous. But
Yeah.
do you have a thought about that? Like, it's why would or and how do entrepreneurs like gain influence? Is it about fame or is it something else?
Well, yeah, you alluded to two things, and yeah, it can be about fame. I think about 1% of entrepreneurs out there, you could call them celebrities. Some people actually get famous through social media, but oftentimes it's people like models, sports figures, entertainers who are leveraging that celebrity, much like they would have done years ago, trying to sign commercial deals to endorse products on the advertising you see on television. Now they're doing it to launch businesses, or if you think of licensed brands,
Yes.
that's a big thing too, where a person can license their image and their reputation, to endorse hopefully a related product to what they do. So that's 1%. For the rest of us, is
We're
it's
not 1%, you're telling me.
yeah. For the rest of us, it's really about finding your niche within all this and kind of knowing the scope of what you do. And so, is it really important, Christine, for this Instagram live that you're doing? Is it important for this to like be seen on a global level for you to reach your goals? Or do you mainly want people within a radius of Matthews and Charlotte that you can influence and help in a lot of different ways?
Yeah.
It's the latter, obviously. And so I think a lot of people can find this space a little daunting, and it doesn't have to. You just need to align it to the scope, the footprint of your business.
That's great. So thought leadership, it's a word or a phrase that's used a lot. What is it really? How would you define it?
I've spent the last 10, 11 years really studying, living, breathing this concept and helping advance thought leadership for primarily for entrepreneurs and executives in small to mid-sized companies. Um, it's a term that has some elitist origins, and thankfully, uh, from tools like social media and the digital world, there's such a low barrier to entry. It's democratized things. So it had its origins in fields like technology and healthcare, but now you see it pretty much everywhere. Whether you're a service business, a product oriented business, there are things to do. So it's basically about being recognized as a go to in your field, no matter what that field is, as I said, whether you're innovative, taking a thinking person's approach to what you do. And, what's interesting is I don't even think all your ideas have to be original.
Hmm.
I like to
Most
compare it.
aren't anymore, right?
Well, right. It's funny you say that because I like to think of it like a hip hop song where, you're bringing in samples, right? Like some of the most iconic
Great
hip hop
idea.
songs
Yeah.
are are basically the artist is overlaying their original art, but they're also bringing together these convergent forces that make it something uniquely their own. And that's okay as long as you're, doing proper attribution. So another big takeaway, I think, for our folks listening, two big pillars of thought leadership. You got to be doing something that's innovative in some way, the goal to push your industry forward, reflecting your thought process. So that's doing the work and then communicating about it and doing that in ways that you think can shape your space.
I love that because what you're saying is it's not just about talking and telling your thoughts, like real examples, what you're out there doing. And there's so many great examples of innovation right now in the context of, yes, we're in a crisis, we're in a pandemic, and there's a lot of tough things going on. But I am so inspired by some of the innovation that I see out there here in Matthews in our own local community. People not being tethered to the way that they were doing things and trying new stuff, and telling people about it, sharing that. And so I love your thought that it's not just about talking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I see out there, I see people on both sides of that dynamic. I see people who aren't walking the walk, and so they're betraying their online presence. It lacks authenticity because they're not actually doing the work. Then I see people on the other side, like our friend Chris Brown.
Yeah.
I've had some conversations with him that I find some of his ideas and some of the things he's putting together pretty breathtaking.
Yeah.
And I think he needs to talk about them more.
Yeah.
And we both
Well,
know that's a
Chris, I'm
humility
sure
problem.
he's listening or he'll watch later. So that's a shout out to our founder of
Yeah,
Nexus, Chris
yeah,
Brown. We're going to get him back on here, of course, at some point, but I will let him know.
yeah.
So if I want to communicate about what I'm doing and want to get my work out there, or any of the entrepreneurs or founders who are thinking about this, and probably a lot of people are realizing that they need to do it differently than they have been in the past. Where should I communicate? How should I get the things that I've been doing and the way I'm thinking about things? Where should I communicate it, or can I communicate it?
I actually enjoy guiding people in this because there's really no wrong answer as long as you're doing what's right for your business, applying that scope we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
and then choosing the right platforms that make sense for you. And this isn't some professional thing. This is on a human level. So some people are pretty terrible at public speaking. Well, there's a lot of things you can do that to get your message out there without giving a talk at the Rotary Club
Yeah.
or speaking at a Chamber of Commerce. You can have a blog. You can do op-eds in local publications or trade publications. Um, Podcasting, that takes a lot of the tension
Yeah.
of doing it
No
live like
huge
we're doing.
audience that you're staring at.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool ways, you just need to focus on publishing, speaking, writing, talking in the ways that you can stay authentic to your purpose and fit your very human needs.
I think that's great. And you mentioned it right at the beginning. There's no right answer. And if you don't love writing, then speak. And if you don't love to speak, you can write. You don't have to do all of those things. And doing what's authentic to you and where you actually have energy around, because you don't want it to be a chore, right? Like you
Right.
want it to be something that you love to do. So you're a ghostwriter. In the context of all of this, I know we love your business. Should I be doing this myself? Should I hire you, hire someone else to write this content for me? What should I do?
I would love to say that every single person should hire me,
I know you
but,
would.
but that's not the authentic truth here. Um, the barrier to entry is so low, and I have spent a lot of time in my 11 years doing this, admitting that I'm not the only good writer out there, not the only good podcaster or video director or whatever. I think a lot of people are capable of doing this themselves and picking the right channels that make it easy. You
Yeah.
know, if it's easy for you to do an Instagram live, go do it. If it's easy for you to keep a good, steady blog presence going, absolutely do that. But for a lot of people in this thought leadership arena, there's a cost benefit analysis, if that's the right B school term.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that I work with, their time is worth more than mine. Another little dose of humility for Brian. Um,
You're
but
really hitting the humbled us hard today, Brian. I'm proud of you.
well,
I didn't know
yeah.
this was a therapy session.
Well, yeah, when you know your client's time is worth double and triple what yours is.
Yeah.
Um, but that's just a fact. I've done a lot of business with attorneys, and the average attorney in their 30s, is billing, $300-400 an hour as a really young professional. And so it doesn't take a lot of math on their part to think, hey, I need to hire this out. And then there are some, even still, who are so good at it, they can do it themselves. And there are countless professions. And this really is a place for entrepreneurs and executives to exert themselves. So oftentimes it just makes more sense, both from a hard cost and a soft cost, of throwing it over the fence to somebody like me to collaborate with.
Yeah, it's great advice. And it's great that people like you are willing to do that because I think it'd be super helpful, especially maybe if someone's trying to get started or don't know exactly how to approach it. So
Right.
before we leave, we're running out of time, but what are just some final notes that you would have on this whole social influencer space or how you use media to amplify your voice? What are some final thoughts?
So one thing, and I've written on a lot of the topics we're discussing, and I'd love it if people wanted to grab more of my ideas at my website, parklifecom.com. First com is two M's and the second com is one.
And we'll drop that in the comments in the bio for everyone to have.
A recent piece that I felt really strongly about and still do, I explored this notion of why thought leadership and influence isn't for everybody. And if you think about it, in any given profession, whether it's a company that makes computers, how many companies make computers? There's really two thought leaders in that space, and one of them passed away, Steve Jobs. Bill
Mm-hmm.
Gates was the other one.
Right.
Everybody else just sticks to making good computers,
Mm-hmm.
while those guys are trying to push the space forward constantly. It's a good illustration that this space, as we're talking about it, Christine, was really built for about 10%. And that's typical of any profession. The doctors, if you think of a famous doctor like Dr. Fauci, who's in our lives every day now,
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci has been at the very top of his profession. He's advised 6 presidents. Dr. Birx, his counterpart, same thing. And does that mean they're the best doctors? No. It means that they're the people who've taken time to say, I'm going to, in a lot of cases, make less money because I'm taking time away from treating patients and billing to do things like my own research that may or not may be funded. And
Yeah.
obviously, he does a lot of communication work that's unpaid. Um, so that's something to think about. Like, are you part of the 90% that just wants to be good at what they do and looks to those people, or do you want to be one of those people?
Yeah.
And then the second thing, this is so important that I'm risking being repetitive here. be authentic. In the online space, if you get out there and try to talk some talk that you can't back up, there's just an army of skeptics out there who their
Yeah.
big thrill in life is pulling you back down to earth
Yeah.
and making sure you never see the light of day again. So it's a little bit, there's a little bit of risk, but as long as you stay true to who you are, it'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, I love that. I mean, the authenticity, the humbleness, and, kind of communicating what you know and what you don't know, and how you can be helpful, that people really appreciate that. So tell us your website one more time.
Yep, that's ParkLife, ParkLife, com, like communications, COMM.com.
Great. So we'll put that in the comments, and we'll post this video for everyone to see after this, so it'll stay live on all of our social channels, so people can watch it. But Brian, I appreciate your time. I think your ideas and thoughts are really helpful, and there's so many people who are trying to figure out, should I dip my toe in this space or not? And so I think you've definitely given us all something to think about and a way to frame it. So thanks for that.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really honored and humbled that you asked me to.
Thanks so much, Brian. I hope you have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.